And we're live. What's going on, Clint? What's up, Patty? Yeah, it's on. Is that loud enough? Let me see. Open up mute it when I do this. Which one of these is the. Okay, has to be this one then. Audio check, 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 check. Yeah, that's a little better right there. Can't hear myself think. What's going on, everybody? Good to see everybody. Sorry I missed Saturday night. Had Derby Day. Went and had spent a whole day at the Derby. Man, it was exhausting. We got there about 9:30. Got us a good table and bet the whole day. Did fairly well till the Derby. I didn't have the winning horse, but man, the race after there was a carryover. They have this high five bet, and basically, if you can bet five horses in the order that they're going to come in the race, so it's not like just win, play, show. It's five, so you got to bet first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And there was a huge carryover, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we stuck around to bet that. And I had all five of those horses, but I didn't. To box them, it would have cost $120. So, you just can't box that. That's just throwing away money. I couldn't. But I picked five in straight. And I did like six different ones with combinations, but I just didn't pick the right combination, $2 bet each. So you can do quite a few combinations, for $1 each. And that's what I did. And had all five horses, but didn't have the right combination. The five horse I had, down low to come in fourth or fifth. There's no way I thought it would win, and it did. So, but it was a lot of fun, man. I saw I saw dollar signs, man. I thought, man, I'm gonna hit, and I didn't. But still was a good day. Ended up breaking about even for the day. So that's a good day. Anytime you can go to the races and eat and gamble all day and come home with about as much as you left with, that's a good day at the races. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Carl? JJ in the house. And Cy Young. What's going on, everybody? Hope y'all having a good evening. All right, let's see. Let me get these links shared. Y'all know the drill by now. I did read up on cross post. Built-in cross posting feature I've yet to find. So I'm looking for this cross posting feature so I can do more at once. And eventually, I guess once we get Cliff into a PC where he can post, we're going to be cross posting. Clint. Cliff. Clifford. Oh, man, I had the best dinner ever was. And I'm surprised I'm not sick right now. I usually get sick after I eat. It's a big turkey and dressing and mashed potatoes and gravy and fresh corn. And I tell you all about the deal on corn, green beans. Man, it was so good. I had to maybe if I can post a picture of it. Man, it was good. Turkey I bought after Thanksgiving. They go on sale for ridiculously low prices. Kind of like the hams I buy. Turkeys, for like $4 or $5. A big huge turkey for $4 or $5. So I usually try to get a couple of them, and I didn't have enough room in the fridge for a bunch, so I just got one this time. No, I got two. We cooked one about a month ago, and this last one, man, and cooked it perfectly. It was so moist and tender. Oh my! It's the best turkey I've ever eaten, ever. Other than maybe my mom's smoked turkey, but that was just because of the smoke flavor that I've never had as tender and juicy a turkey as this one. Man, it was the best, hands down. It was awesome. Couldn't believe how moist it was. All right, let's see. Where's my little list here? All right. Get all these up here. Yeah, this is sucks. I hate doing this. Okay. What have I done? Just bear with me while I get these shared. I didn't even see it. Is that microphone right in my face? And yeah, it is, isn't it? Let me mute it while I move it. There where it's not in my face. I don't like it in my face. I don't know. Everybody always has that microphone right up to their damn mouth. I mean, it's best if you talk directly into them. They, sound better that way, but I don't like eating a damn mic. Where did I end there? Tips, chicken. Okay. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Got stuff mashed in. I know lots of good deals be had. I was buying corn. I guess the deal goes off tonight at Meyer. But 4 years of fresh, good sweet corn, $1, 25 cents an ear. So we made 2 trips to the grocery store, and I bought like 34 4-packs of about 120 ears of corn. Man, I mean, when you can get it that cheap, that good, and this is good sweet corn. This is not going to be mashed. I might use some in an infuser. I might mix some with some cream corn and use it in an infuser like I like to do, but I'm not going to be distilling any of it. Not that it would be good, but it's just too expensive to eat that way. I get that yellow dent cheap and get corn from the farmers. What's going on, Stephen? Good to see you, brother. Before I share all these, I'm going to say hey to everybody. Uh-oh. Wait on me, JJ. Let me get this shared before we talk about it. Let me get these out there. Didn't go as planned. I got that much. I hate to hear it, but we're going to figure out what went wrong. That might have been a good thing. I don't know. Wait. What am I doing here? Oh no, I did it the wrong way. I'm so wrong. All right, let me delete all these. I do it again the other way where it is much easier. Still sucks, but it's easier this way to just share it this way to groups. Something isn't working. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Okay, good. Whew. All right. All right, now we got it. Let's just take these in order real quickly so I don't have to. Can't believe I forgot the way to do it. DIY. And if I don't get to your group right off the bat, it's just because it's not at the top of my list. So I'm just going down my list. I'm trying not to, discriminate and do the larger groups first and all that. It's all relative. Most people that are here and watch it are in the same groups anyway. So most all of us are all in the same groups. All right, let's see. I had a list though. Okay. And strangely enough, this order changes every time. So I guess maybe it's what was most recent. Somebody posted in one most recently or most active right now, or I don't know. But I had it written down before the whole order, and it has changed. So yet another curveball. All right, let's see. Damn it. Okay. And it's lagging a little bit. So bear with me, y'all. We'll get her done. Just takes a few minutes out of my. I don't want to share the same group twice. Okay. Cool. Definitely don't want to waste a share because Facebook, I read just recently, is set in stone now, 10. So I'm limited to sharing to 10 groups. So I'll have to get 10 for me and 10 for Clinton so we can share them. So these are just the first 10. And I'll do the second 10 later. At 9, 15. Hard enough for me to keep track of it. I dang on it, did I? Shoot. Well, if I shared Hatley's twice, I'm sure he'll forgive me. Well, we'll make sure I get it in there. I like him. They're pretty good people. And it's just, oh no. As I do it, oh no, it's changing. That's not good at all. Yeah, we're going to have to work on this. This is not working for me. Not working at all. We'll just share as many as they'll let me, and then we'll get the rest of them at 9. Most people don't watch it live anyway, but I'd like to get this out there as many as I could live. Hard for me to have to write down where I left off. Damn it, man. This is not working for me. Let me see if I shared it to this group already. No, I didn't. Okay, good. Bear with me. I know it sucks. And that was the end. So I stopped at copper steel. Okay, just like last week. Okay. All right. That's about the same spot last week. I got to work on that. Okay, back to the group. We're back. You notice I'm drinking something different. Back to the Kool-Aid, man. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Actually, Crystal Light. It's good shit. Raspberry lemonade. Sugar-free. Trying to cut back on sodas. I've been drinking way too many pops. Carl is finally getting back to his second hobby. Good deal. Had a pretty good maple syrup season. Good deal. 552 gallons. Wow. A finish. So 552 gallons of syrup. Not just the water, but the syrup. It's not just sap, syrup. Wow, that's awesome. That's you got to be in the business at that, right? That's awesome, man. Definitely make some good liquor with maple. I'm guessing maple. You're getting yours from maple. I know they get it from a lot of different trees, walnut trees, maple trees, several different trees. So that's awesome, man. What's going on, Drew? Good to see you. All right, JJ, tell us what happened, brother. What's going on, K Daddy? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, but that's why I'm surprised with your background. 30-pound mash with 15 pounds of corn, 15 pounds of cereals that were already processed. Okay. Should the cereals be added at temperature or just added prior to pitching yeast? I would add them as it cooled off, like you would basically a malt, because a lot of those are malted in our cereals. A lot of the cereals are malted, so you can take advantage of that and add those at about 150, 55 degrees. Go ahead and cook your corn first, though, and gelatinize it. 15 pounds of corn and probably 8 gallons of water to make it easy to work, and then add more water to help cool it off after you gelatinize it and cool it down to 150. Then add your malted cereal grains. And then after that, if you have some extra water left over after it sits at 150, 55 for 30, 45 minutes, then you can add the rest of the water and let it cool. But again, let me do it again so I won't confuse you. 15 pounds and about 8 gallons of water. So that's a little less than 2 pounds per gallon, right? So that'll make it easy to work. And gelatinize it in that. And, at 190, 200 for 90 to 2 hours. And then add your high temp amylase. And then add the rest of your water. It doesn't have to be hot water. 155 or 60-degree water would be fine. Add that water to it. And then add your cereal grains at about 150, 55 range. And let that, and keep some water to the side hot to keep it at that 150, 55 range for 30, 45 minutes to help get those malts activated and going. And then add the rest of your water and just let it cool on down, and then you can pitch your yeast. But a lot of those cereals are malted. So, yeah, you definitely want to take advantage of that malt. And then add your glucose at the end, when it gets down to that temp. What's going on, Stephen G? Good to see you, brother. Rushed through the gelatination process. Didn't get a good conversion. All right. 1035. I mean, that's not horrible. That sounds like the old days, basically, when we had to depend on malting and when I had to depend on using the powdered amylase, I'd get 135, 140s off. And, that's why I always kept dextrose on site, and just add a little dextrose and bump it up, and you'd really never couldn't tell it because you're not using a lot. You're just bumping it. So yeah, if you got some dextrose to add or something like that, it'd be good. Corn sugar be good, which is basically what dextrose is. High fructose corn syrup, heat that up in some water and pour it in. And last but not least, sugar or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to bump it up a little bit. That's why a lot of times we would, put tails in the thumper and use the thumper is to get that proof up, because, back then that's basically what kind of conversion you got with what little malt, poorly malted corn and not properly cooked for 12 hours. It was just a nightmare. That's why we used a lot of sugar. That's why people just said, but it's just too easy to use the sugar. You don't want to go through all that 12-hour cooks. It's just crazy sitting there for 12 hours cooking and then another, 6 hours of distilling if you having to run it twice. Yeah, it was crazy. So that's why a lot of times it was run 2 or 3 times back then too, because when you get a low proof, conversion, you get low alcohol content. And when you have low alcohol content in your mash, you have a low proof coming off the still, depending on the still, of course. And then a lot of times you have to run it through twice. If you have tails, it can boost your proof and add to, your volume. But a lot of times it was run twice. And sometimes three times. That's why the Triple X. No, I didn't win big. I won pretty good on one race, and then that last race, if I'd have hit it, if I'd hit the right order, I'd have won like 2,000, 2,600. I thought it was going to be hundreds of thousands. The carryover was hundreds of thousands, but I guess a lot of people, when it gets that big, then there's only a race with like 8 horses in it, and it's easy to throw 3 pigs out and box the other 5. And I guess a lot of people did that, spent the $120 and boxed them. If I'd have done that, I'd have won a couple grand. But it's easy to look back and say I should have, but really, I can't make that bet. $120 boxing 5 horses, and nah, I can't. I wasn't that sure of the 5. It was kind of a quick thing. I didn't realize it. I figured, I knew the Derby wouldn't carry over, or I knew it wouldn't hit in the Derby because there's just too many horses there to bet that way. And a lot of people didn't have that horse winning. It wasn't the best horse in the field. It wasn't a top 5 horse for me at all. So a lot of people didn't have that horse. It was a hell of a run, though. It was a hell of a run. That horse did really well. It ran from like dead last or next to last all the way through. I mean, you got to give it to Ortiz, man. Jose Ortiz rode that horse really well. Man, he brought it up. Him and his brother are both really good jockeys. You could about bet them and Pratt all day long and won money, which is what we say we're going to do every time, but we don't. What's up, Gip? Good to see you, brother. So I went to Wally Worlds with my friend who is like a brother to me, and we got 50 pounds of sugar. That's shot past the goal, but it's not too off high. But you can just always add water, it just adds some more water to it, or mash in some more corn and mix it all together, just to kind of dilute the sugar out. But yeah, it's easy to overshoot. Worst things have happened, brother. But I know you beer makers aren't used to working with corn, so I'll give you a pass on that. You're used to step mashing grains going up and not coming high temp and going back. So I understand. Man, this Crystal Light's pretty damn good. I have to mix it with some shine, make some crystal shine. Hillbilly lemonade. Yeah, that makes pretty good stuff right there. Pretty good. I like it. But I ate a big dinner and I'm surprised I'm not feeling bad, but I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good. So that's good. Just polished off one of my recent treetop apple juice wines. Awesome. 10% taste. Yeah, 10%'s good. That's 20 proof, brother. That's good stuff. That's awesome. 10%. That's about all we get on a good, decent ferment. I mean, that's nothing to be ashamed of, brother. That's good. That's awesome. Good deal. Yeah. The cook times and the temperatures is really critical with the corn. I mean, if you can't meet that temp for that time, you can always do it. It just takes more time at a lower temp. So if you don't maintain that temp, say, oh no, my temps that can't get my temps up that high, I'm afraid of scorching it or whatever. That's fine. You just need to exponentially increase your time. So if you can't get to 185, 190 or better, preferably, if you're getting to 170, 180, you just gonna have to do it for a couple hours, right? It's got to steep at that temp for a couple hours. So you're gonna have to start with less water and add more water over a longer period of time to maintain that temperature. And if you can use something insulated, coolers work great. I can't say enough how a big, huge cooler works wonders for holding those temps, or insulated barrels if you don't have that big a cooler, or multiple coolers. Looking to put kielbasa and some 130 proof corn whiskey next week. You going to fat wash with kielbasa? Sounds positive. Wait, I'm confused. You got to clarify, bro. You got me scratching my head right now. What's going on, Richard? Good to see you, brother. Hope you and Charlene are doing well. Get a box frame so you can keep your temps, mash a steady temp, still freezing at night. Yeah, it's critical. Just come do it inside. There's nothing dangerous about it. You know, people say, "Oh, I can see CO2 coming off. You're going to die of asphyxiation from CO2." It's like it's not carbon monoxide; it's carbon dioxide, and it ain't gonna put off that damn much unless you sleeping on top of the fermenter and it takes up the whole room. So I've seen people say that silly stuff. That don't worry about it. It's bring it inside if you want to. I mean, it smells good. It smells like fresh cooked bread. Um, but yeah, if you can use a cooler or get you a barrel like a 55-gallon barrel and get that foam insulation and put you a 40-gallon barrel inside that and give you, good inch, 2 inch gap all the way around it and put some at the bottom, especially at the bottom where it sits. The ground is usually colder, but like use some solid foam, and you can use plastic peanuts. It doesn't have to be the spray foam, expanding foam, any of that stuff. You can just shove plastic peanuts in there. Anything you can do, but spray foam works real well. If you can get one of those long, straws, a straw basically, and just spray in there and just pull it up and down and get it, pretty good clear all the way around. If you know somebody does insulation work, I'm sure they would definitely help you insulate barrels like that for a quart jar of your worst. I don't want to give you finest out, but yeah, they'll have a lot of spray foam left over after a job, and they say, just we're getting ready to spray a house, bring it by, or I'll take it by and put it in the back of the truck, and what we got left over when we finish the attic, we can just, or the walls, they spray a lot of that in houses these days, and around windows, anybody works with that, they can hook you up quick, and it works really well. But if not, just a big ass cooler or several coolers for that matter works pretty well too. Yeah, it was definitely a long shot, Richard. I think it was like 23-1 or something like that. It was had some damn good odds on it. But what's funny about the Derby day? Most days the favorite's 2-1, 3.5-1, something like that, right? And that's usually what the favorite goes off at, maybe 9-2, 4.5-1. But like Derby Day, 6-1 favorite. I think Renegade was like 6-1. I had Renegade. I just knew that horse was going to be there. It was a chalk, so I was betting exotics, trying to hit that with others, trifecta, try boxing and trying to hit the trifectas and all that, and supers. But uh, but high odds for even a favorite, and it's because so much money's bet that day. And it's really the best day to bet the horses. If you're going to bet Derby Day, Preakness Day, all the others aren't as good. Derby Day, if you're going to bet one day out of the year, that's the day to bet on the ponies. It's the best paydays because they just get large pools, and you get a lot of people there too that never bet the horses and know nothing about it, and they bet crazy stuff, and they're just giving you money basically. Most of the guys that I'm with are, one of my buddies basically does this for a living. He's got disability. He can't work, can't walk, and barely get around. And it reminds me of Tom when he walks. He's bent over, his back's messed up, and kind of like Tom's is. And he he pretty much that's what he does now is bets ponies. So he's very knowledgeable. He knows all about the jockeys, all the different owners, and all the trainers, and he knows it's been his business. He's done it quite a few years. I mean, he wins tournaments and goes to Vegas every year, and he's made a living doing it. So yeah, I try to go with him when I go. But I did pretty well. I hit some good ones. I gave him some horses he didn't like, and we put them together and hit some pretty decent ones. I think my biggest hit was like a couple $100, but I lost it all back. Yeah, I understand, brother. Yeah, just gotta chalk it up as an air. I mean, you can add some more water to it, kind of dilute it down. It'll be fine. You don't want it to be too hot, so I definitely would mash in something else. Mash in some more corn and add it to it, gelatinize some more corn, or you don't just put in some cornmeal, and water. Like the old days, thin mash it, add it. That way, you're not just diluting it with water. You'll add cornmeal, help keep that flavor profile up. Maybe add some fresh corn if you want to. But yeah, I'd dilute it down, get it to 108 or so. What was your final gravity? I don't think you said. Uh-oh. Buddy, I hope you get to feeling better. Damn, that means I'm going to have to keep up. Shit. I hope you get feeling better, buddy. Yeah, I know. I get sick when I go to the dentist too. All that. When you talk funny, who comes from the dentist, you come home and you're talking like this right here. I don't know why you came over your mouth, right? I know. It's crazy. Yeah. Let's see. When's my dental appointment? I got to go to the doctor 11th and August. I got till August to worry about that. I keep my little doctor's list there. Yeah, you gotta give yourself plenty of time, man. It's definitely don't do it. Get up early, start early. And same thing with distilling. That's something you want to start in the morning. Don't wait till the afternoon, or it's going to be a long day. Especially if you do a double run. Hold on, Curtis. Good to see you, brother. Come on, Earl. Good to see you, man. All right. Question from Earl. Damn. I got to be on my game now. Mash bill, 18 pounds of rolled corn. All right. I'm assuming that's flaked and steamed and gelatinized already. 5-pound Hickory King, 8-pound distiller malt, 13 gallons of water. Cooked corn an hour and a half. Tested black. Good. Reheated to 200. Held for 2 hours. Tested. Still black. Damn, bro. I don't know. It shouldn't be. Well, the rolled corn should already be gelatinized. So if it's flaked, and steam rolled, it should have been gelatinized already. So, it's just the red corn that you mentioned that has to be that. Oh, the Hickory King, the white corn that caused it. Let me see here. Yeah, that's crazy, man. So we know where iodine's. Yeah, that's just strange. Use the high temp alpha. Now, how old is the alpha? I've heard that if you don't keep it refrigerated after a year and a half, or if it gets hot, it starts to lose its efficacy. But I mean, wow, that's a mystery, brother. I mean, especially because it's already been gelatinized, so you know that there wasn't an issue with gelatinizing, and you cooked it anyway. Now, did you put the high temp in when you started? Now, a lot of people put it in when they start. And I don't know what temp it gets to denature the high temp alpha. I'm guessing 185, 190. So I don't know, but it could have lost its efficacy. Let me scroll. Oh, okay, I'm gonna scroll down enough. Malt went in below 150. Good, that's fine. Alpha went in at 185. Glucose 150. Now different glucose. I mean, just go by the label. Some say 140, 50. Some will say 100, 120. Some will say at yeast pitching temps at 90. So I'm thinking the source depends on that because I've seen a lot of this stuff at 140, 140, 50 range. And then I'm seeing some that's like 110 and 90 to 110 or something like that. So, yeah, yeah, pH is good. So yeah, pH is important. I'm glad you mentioned that because I wasn't really thinking about that. But pH for your conversion, a lot of people wait till it's yeast pitching time to to adjust pH, and that's not right. You got to adjust your water before you even do the conversion. So that's right. Um, yeah, that's a mystery, brother. What's going on, GW? Good to see you. I don't know, Earl. Only thing I can think, how old's your high temp amylase? Where'd you get it? Back to work. Oh hell. Hell. All right, brother. We'll catch you this weekend. Have a good one, bro. Hate to you back to work though, but at least you have some money. Best use of sour mash is to just make more sour mash. Just perpetuate it. Just keep perpetuating it. Keep using it. Keep. I kind of rejuvenate mine. I do a little bit different than now. It depends on which sour mash recipe you're talking about. You talking about the original sour mash recipe, or are you talking about Uncle Jesse's simple sour mash, or mine that's kind of in between? Because different sour mashes have to be handled differently. Uncle Jesse's simple sour mash is just that. It's a simple way of doing it, but it's probably definitely not the best way. The old fashioned way is the best way, but you're cooking grains every time and you're just using back set, right? That's the old fashioned way. So mine's kind of in between. You're a little bit of both. You're cooking fresh grains each time, but you're still carrying forward some of the old stuff. And I think it's kind of the best of both worlds. Not as good as the old school method, but it's more efficient and cost money. It saves money, whereas the old method. So let us know which method you're talking about, and we can definitely help you out there. But yes, sour mashing is just a good way of cutting corners and saving money, and keeping a decent drink, not the top shelf, not the best, but a good drink and at a very low cost. And you can keep doing it, keep using the same yeast, keep using that back set to lower your pH, keep using spent grains to get that flavor and a little bit of sugar to keep your gravity up. But I take out a certain percentage of grain each time and cook a fresh new batch of grain each time, convert it, dump it in, and then, use the same yeast, nutrients from the last time. There'd be plenty there. And then, adjust your gravity based on that. Cheers. Oh, we got calling shots. All right, here we go. I can use this. Definitely can use a shot. Definitely had quite a few shots Saturday. Had a buddy of mine, the buddy I was telling you about, the horseman, buying Eagle Rare shots, $14 a shot. Crazy, man. He's a wheeler. Yeah, it's expensive. But I'm stumped, Earl. I don't know, brother. it has to be the alpha, right? I mean, you got it gelatinized surely with the times that you cooked it, and recooking doesn't make it where it won't convert, right? I mean, you cooked it and cooked it again. So definitely is not the gelatinization wasn't a problem, and the numbers are fine as far as corn to water ratio. And I know you know what you're doing. That's why when you ask me a question, I'm like, oh shit. Um, yeah, that's kind of got me stumped too. It has to be the alpha is not real effective. You might have to just start using a lot more. I've had alpha do that to me in the past, and that's the only thing I can think of is get a little age on it, or just get a bad batch that's got some age on it, and you just have to use a lot more to make it work. So that would be my thought, and that I keep powdered amylase too because I'm too damn honored to throw it away. I love the high temp alpha and the liquid, high temp alpha. But I still had a big old pound. I bought it a big old pound of it, so I still have a bunch of the. It doesn't take much, as everybody knows, so I've still got a bunch of the powder. So I kind of throw it in at 152 just to help in case my high temp alphas. But it's very temperature sensitive as far as longevity wise, keeping it in the refrigerator and year and a half, and it starts losing its efficacy. So it just may be an older batch that you got. Hello, Miss Lisa. How are you? Good to see you. Just did your first. Oh, let me go back here. What is the best use of sour mash? Okay. Just did your first. It's different flavor than I'm used to. Yeah, it will be. Run a Bloody Butcher batch and then made a sour mash from that. You will definitely see a big difference in generations in sour mashing Bloody Butcher. Reason being, Bloody Butcher has such a rich initial flavor. That first batch, maybe two, will carry so much more flavor than subsequent batches because you're after your first distillation, you're getting a spent grain. And with the Bloody Butcher, it really drops that flavor pretty quickly. With regular dent corn, it's not as drastic because there wasn't a lot of rich flavors to begin with. But with that Bloody Butcher, it's got a lot of flavor that just your regular dent corn's not going to have, right? So it's probably just because it's diluted the flavor of the Bloody Butcher down, and it's just not as rich and earthy and flavorful as that first batch. But yeah, it'll definitely, and that's kind of why I do what I do is just recook some grains 10, 20%, 15, take 15% out, and especially the floaties, get everything off the top, and then take some out and take 10%, 15% so out, and then just recook that and add it because it does add that flavor back, especially if you're using an heirloom grain like that carries a lot of flavor, for sure. And another, make sure also when you add that back set, make sure that when you do that you cook, that you distill it down and separate all the tails out and get most of your tails out. Don't stop at 80, 70, 80 like a lot of people do. Distill it on down if you're going to do sour mashing and you're going to add that back set back into your sour mash. You don't want to drop it in there hot because it's going to kill the yeast that you're wanting to save. So you're going to let it cool, right? But when you add it in there, if it's still got a lot of alcohol content, that high alcohol content can not only kill some yeast, but it can prevent it from, fermenting back up to a decent proof because you're dumping that proof in on top of it. So you're not going to get any fermentation going on. It's as if it's already ready, right? Because you just dumped high proof in there. So run it out when you add that, and don't add too much of the back set. Use your pH meters or your paper and make sure that you're just adding it in there to get it to the 5 or so range that you want. Maybe with the sour mash you can get a little bit lower and go with a little bit longer of a ferment. But sour mashing for a rookie, that's awesome. I like that. Or it's your first sour mash, maybe. Maybe you're not a rookie. It's just your first sour mash. I'm not sure how to read that. Yeah, definitely electric is the way to go. Initial cost definitely higher with your equipment, but in the long run, if you can't continue the hobby, it'll pay off in spades because it's a lot cheaper than propane. Yeah, definitely electric's the way to go for sure. I'm getting set up. I probably shouldn't have. I should have just probably gotten 255s and made it easy on myself. But I got a 9,000 watt element instead of 255s or 25s, and now I got to get a pretty decent solid state relay to run it. Yeah, I've only heard one person that really wasn't happy with electric and went back to gas. Everybody else I've talked to uh, likes it. And this person I respect, so I'm going to respect their opinion. I'm not saying I'm going to say they're wrong because they're definitely knowledgeable and good person and knows very knowledgeable person in fact. And he went back to propane and I've been hesitant to do the electric because I always was worried about scorching, but I've drank a lot of the electric stuff. I've never picked up on any scorching or odd flavors. In fact, I've had some really good shine come out of electric steel. So I'm sold on it now. I was really very apprehensive about it though. I didn't like the looks of it at first when I saw it. I was nah, but after seeing it used for a few years now, and everybody, all right, brother, sweet dreams, man. Hope you get to work on time, and sorry you have to be back at work. I know how you love that work. We all do, right? Have a good one, brother. You just got the amylase and added it at 190. I mean, 185, 90 should be fine. I mean, I don't think it denature at 190. I mean, I think most of them say 185, but I don't think that five's going to, it's not going to, especially the rolled corn. That's what we have to figure out. Is that steam rolled corn? Um, 1075. Well, it did convert. Something with iodine maybe or that's wild. Has to be something maybe with there's something causing iodine to misread. I'm wondering if there's any issues in using the high temp alpha and iodine if it has some kind of conflicting chemical reaction that makes it. I mean, I've not really heard anything about it. I don't do a lot of iodine testing anymore. I just just wait and let it do its thing. I've never had any issues with it that I needed to use it. So I don't use iodine hardly ever anymore. I used to back in the powdered amylase days, but I got spoiled with the high temp alpha. But yeah, so the high temp alpha was good. I would say it's something with the iodine, or it's having some kind of chemical reaction with something in there that's keeping it black or turning it black. It should just be orange, right, when the starches are converted. So it's converted, and we knew the rolled was gelatinized when it got steamrolled. If it was steamrolled, right, so flaked, so that's gelatinized instantly. So it definitely wasn't a cooking thing, or you'd have gotten just little bits of black, maybe, or it would have been maybe an orange with some black hints, maybe. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll be sorry for nothing, brother. What are you sorry for? Oh man, what did you say? I mean, did I miss something? Oh, I did miss. How does the fermented barrel taste when tasting the wine? I'm a barrel. I missed some of this right in here. For some reason, I should go past it. I miss Chris too jumping in here. What's going on? I must have missed this little section here. I'm sorry, GW. Be doing it in the garage. Got 3 40-gallon barrels. Plan on using Inkbird and a heat lamp. I'll tell you what I've got. If do you have like a oil filled cooler or a oil filled heater, like one of these? I don't know how well that will work in like a garage that's down to 0 temps like you're talking about. I know in like 40, 50-degree weather, that in between my barrels cranked up works just fine. It's going to be tough. You know, it's definitely going to be tough. Maybe use some Kveki yeast or some lager yeast that likes low temperatures, or some EC 1118 likes a little bit lower temps, instead of the Dady yeast or some of the bread yeast or some of the whiskey yeast that generally prefer the higher temps. Maybe use a lower temp yeast. Lager yeast would probably be ideal. But yeah, putting that little heater in between my barrels does wonders, man. I put it in between 3 or 4 barrels, and it'll keep them. And I kind of turn the heater back and forth, once or twice a day to kind of spread the heat more evenly. That way, 2 don't get hotter than the other 2. And that works pretty well, but it ain't Sub-Zero. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't like using, I know a lot of people use the fish tank heaters. I don't like that. Barrel bands work. I think you probably know what a barrel band looks like. I think I might have a picture one, but they work. But a lot of times those are designed for metal barrels, and you have to be careful when you use them, because you want to definitely keep your temps low and adjust your temps up as you ferment, because it can melt your plastic barrels. Let me see here. I know I got to pick one, but they work real well. But just remember that they're made for metal barrels. And I don't have a pic of it. I thought for sure I had a pic of it somewhere. But they got them on Amazon. But the temps, they get so high. So start real small, and they're about like that wide, and they'll go all the way around your barrel, and they got like Velcro, and they'll kind of got a little elastic to them, so they'll snug on your barrels. Generally, if your barrels get smaller as it goes down, you might want to put something on the sides to keep it hung up. But they'll melt it if you start high temp and go down. So you just have to start low and work your way up. But you'd have to have one for each barrel, and that gets expensive, man. Because they're like $20-$40 each for the cheap ones. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going back down from where that was. Somehow I skipped over that. Missed that. Anyway, good night, GW. We'll catch you this weekend, brother. TV kicking you off. Oh, hell. We probably got a different rating in here now, man. We probably restricted now. Mature audiences only. I'm going to scroll a little slower here. Damn it, I thought I was going to get caught up. All right, considering getting a modular brewing setup with the electric kettle. Functionally, would that be a decent investment to work with grains? Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the little Digiboil T500s. There's several different ones. Yeah, those are all fine for making beers. And basically, when you're fermenting or making a mash, you're making a beer. Temp wise, I know that there's some I don't know how there's some hacks out there that allow you, because it's got, some of them have like low, high, and it may use different um, elements inside there underneath. I know it's like got a coil underneath it. It's not like a water heater element. So, but there's low and high, and I think somehow they've rigged it to where you can do both at the same time. I'm sure that you would probably lose your warranty or anything like that if you did the hack, but um, I would say that that would probably void the warranty. But they seem to work fine. Like everybody that's had them enjoys them. I know they're great for making beer, and they got the little sparge pipe in them and everything, so they're pretty cool. Yeah, I looked into the Digiboils and some of those, and if you like making beer, also, then I would say definitely yes. If not, then it may be overkill for what you need. You could probably get by with buying your steel and using your steel as your pot that you cook with, like a Vever GW is going to have fit, like, the Vever pot. Let's see here. Oh, I didn't pick one. Let me show what I'm talking about. So when you buy these pots, and I'm not saying that you should or will, but whatever you buy, unless it's a closed top steel, it's going to be pretty easy to, just boil your water in it and use. So you can take the lids off this, see this top and all this off, and it's just a good, 10, 13, 18 and a half gallon pot that you can boil, and cook in. So it makes it real convenient for people that don't have a big pot also. In addition to their steel, can make your pot. You can also ferment in here. You can see it's got a little airlock attached to it. Not trying to sell it, but it's handy for that. It's great because a lot of people don't have an 18 and a half gallon kettle to cook in, and this has a little false bottom plate you can put in. You can do some canning, pressure canning. You can get your little adapter to put in the top and do some pressure canning and all that, or make one like I did. But it's got you can ferment in it as well. So you can kind of do everything in this one little pot. Or if you want it to buy a pot, you can buy a separate pot, get you some of those crawdad boil. They got those in 20, 30 gallon. I think they go by the quart. So there's 140 quart, 90 quart, whatever. So you can get, those to cook in, but sometimes they'll have a little basket inside of them too, which helps you with your grain bag, right? Just put your grain bag in there and keep it off the bottom. So it makes it a lot easier to cook without scorching. That's a big plus. But yeah, I mean, it's as long as you're just talking about cooking. Now, as far as distilling in them, I know that they make the tops for it, a little dome, and I'm pretty sure Appalachian makes those as well. Appalachian Plateau Copper, if you're not familiar with them, they make the little tops to go on to the top of those as well. I'm not sure if that's just the Vevers or those, but I'm sure them and a bunch of others could custom make you one if you needed to. Pretty sure Digiboil and some of those companies make those though. If not, I'm sure Appalachian could hook you up. But it's just like a little, clamp down copper top that's a dome that goes into a ferrule, and a little 2-inch ferrule on top of that. So, you keep your modularity up. Yeah, those are just fine. You never taste it. I always have to get a little sippy taste of mine. I mean, I don't get shots, but I'll have to taste it on my finger. And I do that just to test myself with the hydrometer. I'll taste it, then I'll drop the hydrometer in there. I'll try to guess what it's at, and then put the hydrometer in there, and that keeps you pretty in practice for that day when you drop your hydrometer and don't have one. All right, let me go back ahead. I went back to where I missed. I don't know how I scrolled past that. I guess when Clint said he wasn't feeling good, I scrolled down, try to get caught up too quick. Now let me scroll back down. Oh, brother, I wish he was here. I'd damn sure give you a shot. I'm gonna have another one just for you. Damn good Joe Schwishstock liquor. Joe spent, I guess he went to the hospital this weekend. He got allergic reaction to some tattoo dye, pink tattoo dye. Oh, we're going to have fun with that. I'm already thinking of jokes. Joe's a good guy. Rowdy Roddy's in the house. Hello, Marie. How are you? Rowdy Roddy and Miss Marie. Or is that Jess? Or is Jess her last name? Inquiring minds. I guess the Alpha turned out to be fine if his gravity, I guess he said that after he said that, though. But yeah, 1075. Just brought a new electric element setup, and it's amazing. I like my little propane, but the new electric, that's what most everybody says. Everybody, like I said, but one person has definitely just gone crazy over the electric. Yeah, I just saw Clint's going on, Hellbilly. Yeah, so I'm definitely into for trying it. I put it off for years. I'm like, nah, I was always a skeptic. I was always, nah, I don't think there's no way, you're putting the element right there in the mash. There's no way, that it doesn't scorch or have a bad flavor. And I was just, nope. And it's just, stubborn me, and you got to try, right? That's the scientific method. You got to try it and experiment and see. And most everybody that's tried it have definitely said it works well. And I've tasted their liquor, and it's definitely good liquor. So we definitely going electric because it's different. It's a lot cheaper. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than the propane, and you don't have to worry about running out. And having to run to the gas station, get a refill, or Walmart or wherever and get another cylinder. So definitely going to be something everybody's got to try. What's going on, Big G? Yeah, I'm not Philbilly. I'm Bad Santa, but we run this on Philbilly's channel. He runs the militia, and so he's basically our sponsor. So he's a good old boy, and he helps us. He makes this show possible. So we owe him a big, great deal of gratitude. Yeah, I've not iodine tested in a long time. I did back in the days when I used the powdered amylase and when I used grains for conversion because it's a lot tougher, and it's a lot more finicky and a lot less success rate than the liquid high temp and the gluc. So yeah, I don't fool with it much anymore. I've never had any issues. But if I did, have some, high temp that I thought was getting aged, and I just use more, and I still use that powder, so it's not been a problem. But if there was a question, if something didn't work out, then I would definitely revert back to it and see where I went wrong. But that's I can't for the life of me figure out where. I mean, he got a good conversion, obviously. If he got a 1075. So he definitely got a good conversion out of what he had. So it's got to be something to do with maybe the high temp and the iodine having some kind of chemical interaction that prevented it from reading properly. Definitely something starch in there. Maybe it's just some source of starch. Even though he got a good conversion, there were still some starches in there carried over from something. I mean, he did mention, let's see. It's interesting, so I'll have to scroll back and see. Usually you don't run into problems like that, so it's a unique problem. And I knew when Earl did it. And so we know that the 18 pounds of rolled corn is already gelatinized. And the 5 pound Hickory King cooked corn an hour and a half, tested, reheated at 200, held for 2 hours. I mean, that'll gelatinize anything, man. I mean, 200 for 2 hours, absolutely 100% all should have been gelatinized. So he hydrolyzed it. So it's either the at this point, you would think it's either the amylase wasn't effective or something's wrong with the iodine. But if you got the conversion 1075, the alpha, high temp alpha did its thing. It's just got to be some kind of chemical interaction with the something in there and the iodine. You and everybody else, Big G. Don't you're in a field with many. It's really tough. It is, and that's why I say, if you can if you can distill a brandy, and you can tell what fruit it was made with when you drink it, that's a successful brandy, because it's a very difficult thing to do. Especially certain fruits have very delicate flavors, and those get lost so easily in the distillation process. Um, that's why we a lot of people have, and we use infusers now, to try to re-infuse and keep that flavor profile throughout the distillation process, because it happens to us too. And if you use an infuser, it definitely helps to maintain that flavor. Now, is there certain things you can do without that to help carry the flavor forward? It would depend on the fruit. Some fruits just so delicate and light, it's just going to be almost impossible to get it to carry over, like a pear brandy, getting a good pear to carry over. It's very tough. Um, so it's a difficult process. So going slow and lower temperature and increasing the time, and using just a pot still, eliminating a thumper where you get a second distillation and some smearing of some heads and fours, definitely doesn't help. But maybe run it a little slower on just a pot still mode, directly into the condenser, and keeping your proof low, and it can help carry some flavors over. It's brandy's difficult. Brandy, carrying a good brandy, making a good brandy, um, is very difficult. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's tough. It's the toughest thing to distill and make it, and to carry that flavor profile, especially the delicate fruit flavors. And yeah, a lot of your fruit flavor will be in your esters in your heads, and that's something that you have to age to get it to carry forward and mature, and age properly and estrify. And it's generally, you don't want to keep the high heads; it's just your lower heads. But definitely, a lot of your fruit flavors will come from the esters of the heads. Heating blanket, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it's heating. If you got it like a waterbed heating blanket or waterbed heater, those work real well. Heating blanket, that'll work. I don't know if it'll work in 0 degrees though. I don't know if you're going to be able to do much at that temperature, man. That's pretty cold. Can you? I've never experimented with them. I did see a hack though, that somehow you can strap it over inside, and I'm not sure. That might be in our files, and I'm not going to recommend it to anybody because I don't want anybody messing up their digiboils. That was kind of my reason I didn't go with that, was because I would hate for my element to go out and then have trouble getting. I didn't know how easy it was, if it was sealed inside there, or if it's easy to get to, or and how hard it would be to find a new element or parts to fix it. So that's kind of one of the things that kind of steered me away from it. But a lot of beer makers like those. Hello, Miss Tammy. Good to see you, sweetheart. What are you up to, Hellbilly? That's right. If you just have one, you'll drop it, or the cat will knock it off, or play with it, smack it, knock it, and break it. I've had that happen. Or you'll have it sitting on a dehumidifier and it'll just vibrate off. Like, I don't know why I set it up there. Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of ways for them to break. I know you can look at them hard and they'll break. But yeah, if you have a couple few of them, man, they'll last forever. Yeah, 6, you'll never break one, man. Yeah, and you do stupid stuff like try to stir with it, and you hit the side, and it's like, why would I even do that? Why? I know better. I know better. You know. Yeah, I've broken so many different ways. Yeah, I made the mistake. I don't know, getting that 9,000. I thought, man, this big 9,000 be the bomb. I'll heat the shit up, and I have boiling water within 20 minutes, man, and I'll be able to cook that corn. And then I started realizing that, man, it's expensive to get one that goes that high. 30 amps is one thing, 50 is a whole new ball game. So maybe I should have just gone with a couple of 5,000 watts instead of the 9,000, but I'll get it figured out. Yeah. Yeah. I just go ahead and put you in 100 amp, that because you're going to end up wanting another element and running lights and, some tools and other things. And I tell you what, those 100 amp breakers or 150 is a hell of a lot cheaper than the specialty, odd size breakers and odd amp breakers. Those 150s and 200s are cheap as shit. You try to get an 80 or, something unique like that, man, it's pretty expensive. I guess maybe those 40 or 50s for like the outside for your uh, heat pumps and stuff like that. I've got one outside, but I've got to see what wire going into that. I think it's more because it goes to a compressor out there, but there's also a pool heater. Well, that's gas. There's also the pool lights in the storage building. Like so, I don't know. It might still be a 40 or 50. But I want to increase the size of it. Hopefully, it's a 50, and I can still run that one outside. I'll just put a plug in that box next to it. That was the plan. If not, I mean, my basement and my utility rooms where the panel is. So yeah, I can run me a new plug and just do it in there. Yeah, those some of those SCRs you get, the cheap ones, they don't hold up. They say 10,000 watts, but there's no way that it's going to power this 90 or this 9,000 watt. Um, no way. So that doesn't have that kind of duty cycle. 11,000, man. How many elements? 255s is 11 though. That'll do it. What's going on, Scotty B? Scotty B late. What's up, man? Canister. All right, let's see what we talking about here, JJ. Tractor Supply is cheaper to fill the canisters than to. Oh yeah, with the gas. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was a gas station on the corner real close to me that used to used to sell, they had a big old tank out there, and it's strange because like rainy days, they wouldn't fill it. It was because the air was so heavy that if they filled it, the propane stayed down low and was posed a hazard. So like on rainy, certain days they wouldn't sell it. Interesting. I didn't know that till I went over there on a rainy day. And yeah, shut up. So I went to I think that's when I went to Kroger's and did an exchange, or Walmart did the exchange. But yeah, you're right, getting them refills cheaper for sure. Yeah, electric's still definitely the cheapest. Absolutely. You're 100% right there. Um, with grains, you can work grains off in 3 to 5 days. With and the temperature, depending on, of course, on the yeast that you use. But most of your data yeasts and most of the bread yeast and data yeast and whiskey yeast that you use, 80 plus degrees is the norm. But with making wines and making musts for either wine or brandy, you definitely want to use a wine or brand or wine yeast or champagne yeast. And you definitely want to cool your fermentation temps down into the 70s or high 60s even. And what normally goes in 3 to 5 days with grains can take weeks, and that's just your primary fermentation. And then you rack off all the liquid off the solids and carry a little bit over for nutrients and for the yeast from the bed. And you do a secondary fermentation for months. So it's a much slower process for making good wines and brandies for sure. Got to have a lot more patience. And I know a lot of people, and that's probably, I don't know, it may be a mistake to, I think it is, but it's just an opinion. Some people don't feel it's worth the time, but I let my wine kind of mature before I make a brandy out of it. And it's does its esterification thing, and it probably get less heads as a result too. But um, letting it age and get mature and then distilling it, I think gives you a more flavorful brandy. So it's like that um, grappa I made. That was a white wine that fermented for probably 6 to 8 months, and no, that was close to a year for fermentation, almost a year in fermentation, secondary, before I distilled it, and then it bottled, then it jar aged after I ran it. So it definitely got mature, and it was so good. But it took 2.5 years to make, right? So yeah, 2.25 years. Yeah, it's just crazy. You couldn't do that and make money. You'd have to charge $100 a jar or 150 a jar to make money at that rate. But absolutely, definitely want a cooler temps. That's why wintertime in your basement, or if you have a basement, it's a great place to ferment wines. Good low temps down here definitely helps my wine fermentations. Doesn't help my grains though. So I usually do those in the spring and summer and fall when it's warmer. But down in this basement, I can do wine anytime because it's nice and cool pretty much year round. I don't know. In the dead of summer, in the 90 plus degree days, it'll get a little warm down here. It might get in the high 70s, low 80s, but still, it's pretty good numbers, you know. What's going on, Trickster? Good to see you. Yep, that's right. Yeah, ended up picking up a piece of 2 foot 2 inch copper pipe. That stuff ain't cheap, man. So you're gonna use that for your column or shotgun condenser? Either one works great. Yeah, that stuff's expensive. I know a buddy of mine, Matt, he got a bunch. He had some friends of his working construction and stuff up there. I'm not sure exactly what they were doing, but he was given a big roll of 2-inch copper and quite a few foot of it. And man, he's been making all kinds of good stuff with it. Nice. He made a tube and shell condenser, Liebig condenser with it most recently in a little column, but he's got a big coil of it. He made a big huge worm with. Definitely 921. I need to share this. I saw Mark's name and made me think about other Mark Morgan. I need to groups. Got to share this to the group. So bear with me just a second. And let me share this with the rest of the groups that I'm able to. And if I don't get it to your groups, I'm sorry. We want to do something about getting you moved up on the list. And we're going to have to get Clint set up to where he can do it too. Let's see. Didn't get copper steel, so let me get them first. Popping lines group done. The Shine On family. Just a second. Get a few more and then it's going to shut me off again. I know. I don't know if I got them or not. There's two groups that sound just alike, so I have to see. One of them is kind of a copy of the other one. Let's see if I got that. I'm glad I looked because, yes, I did. Let's see if I got this one. If I made it that far. All right, I did. So good. Yeah. Yeah, I know where it was, where I left off. So hopefully I'll get 10 more. That should take care of most of them. I don't like that I have to do this every time. And used to, I got more off the first time. So I got about like 15, 16 off the first time. And then I could do the rest of them later. But I don't even remember which group I just sent to. Oh, it was one of those two. All right. Yep. So bear with me, one or two more. Now, see, I just get behind again. That's what kills me. Just right when I'm about to get caught up, I'm getting behind again doing this. Pretty sure I did shine. Oh, that was Shine On, not Shiner Family. Let me check. Got a lot of shine groups. A lot of good ones. All right. Let's see. Yep, that's it. That's about the same spot that tops every damn time. Sorry about that, Moonshine Recipes, but yeah, that group's kind of funny. It's a Moonshine Recipe group, and it's got a lot of people. A lot of people. I think it's public, but it's like it's not just Moonshine Recipes. It's a lot of people just posting normal stuff, and it's like stuff you'd share on your own page, and more food recipes than Moonshine Recipes, I reckon. Anyway. Hopefully that'll be the last of that. So what's going on, brother? It's shot time, ain't it? See that old nose starting to get a little red, I see. Yep. I like to hear that. Mashing in my wheated bourbon. Awesome. Love me some wheated bourbon. I like it sweet too, brother. I've got wheat up there. Do you malt your wheat or do you use regular wheat? You like the red winter or the white, or I'm always interested to see what other wheat lovers prefer. I like to malt mine, but it is a painstaking extra step. JJ going down early. Did you do the gummy again, JJ? Did you? You did, didn't you? You did a gummy. All right, brother. Have a good one. We'll see you Saturday. JJ had a gummy. He's going down at 9:20. But I love to hear this. Wheated bourbon. Yes, sir. Now, do you put just corn and wheat, or do you got some barley going in with that? I want to know. And he still ain't used it. I guess it's a lot cheaper then than it is now. That's a good investment, man. You could probably sell it and triple your money. $150, yeah. Especially when you're doing like 8 gauge or something. Is that what let me see, 8 gauge? Is that what it is? 50? I used to have all that memorized. 8 gauge for 50, yeah. 8 gauge, yeah. 40-45. Well, 8 gauge can handle 50 amps. It's better for 40. Okay. So six gauge then. Or if you use copper, it will definitely easily handle it. 6 AUG copper or 4 AUG aluminum for 50 amp. Okay. So I was wrong. 6 AUG copper or 4 AUG aluminum for 50 amps. I know it takes like double aught or something like that for 150 of the aluminum. Yeah, 2 AUG. 2/0 AUG. And most people use aluminum, or heavily. I think a lot of people are under the misconception that the aluminum wiring is dangerous and that you shouldn't use it because all the fires and all that stuff. Most everything you see coming from the power pole coming down, all that's aluminum. All that's on the poles, all aluminum. That's not copper up there. But you just have to make sure that you use the grease, right? The electric grease, and make sure you use it sparingly. Don't skimp on it, because that way you just got to make every part that's visible of the aluminum coated, and then once you tighten it down, in your box, it's fine. You don't have to worry about any corrosion or anything over time, and any issues like that. So it's a whole lot cheaper than copper wire. Is why I say that. So just do Google, do your gauge. Like I said, 2/0 AUG for 150 amp breaker is probably going to be a lot cheaper than trying to do a 80 amp or something like that in copper, anything. So definitely the aluminum, but make sure you use plenty of that electrolytic grease. Yeah, use aluminum wire. Well, 1500 watt. Shit, you probably do that on an extension cord, brother. That's 120. That wouldn't be too bad. That's like a hair dryer. That's not too bad. Yeah, you wouldn't have to have any special main wiring for that. Especially running it at 75%. That's basically like a lot of modern hair dryers, watt wise. So that's not bad. I thought you had like 5,000, 10,000 watt like Clint. Yeah, they pull out the scales, man. They weigh it out right in front of you. Yeah, so that's fine for that. Yeah, your wire won't be that tough. You can just use like a regular 20 amp, a 12 gauge wire. Just regular 12-2. You can get that pretty cheaply. And copper. Yeah, 12, say 14 is for 15 amp. And yeah, 12 is for 20 amp. 10 is for 30. 8 is for 40. 6 is for 50. And so on. Then it generally jumps from that to 100 amp and then a 150 breaker wise. Those like I said, those oddball breaker sizes in between are expensive and strange. Yes, absolutely. It's just the time. It takes a little more time to heat it up. A lot of people will use the second element that they don't need, and they do it just to increase the heat time. And then once they get up to temp, they turn one off and then finish with the other one. And it's just a patience thing. Yeah, just get one of these blue barrels. I tell you, get a blue barrel cheaper than some of those brute gas garbage cans, and they're a little softer than these barrels. Uh, but yeah, these blue barrels, most people can get them on marketplace left and right. Man, they're cheap as dirt, $20, and if you order several, if you go there and buy several, I went to Louisville and got mine. I was over that way anyway to visit my wheat guy, and well, I was in Shelbyville anyway to visit my wheat guy, and then went on over to Louisville to pick up these plastic barrels that this guy had. He had what I wanted, and And you get a bunch of them, and they'll fit in your car. Just put them inside each other. They stack like Dixie cups, and you just pack several, 4 or 5 into the back seat, stacked up, and your lids. They fit into my small car quite easily. Actually, I got 2 different sizes. I got some 40s and then some 30s. So I got 2 different sizes, and the smaller ones fit into the bigger ones. So I got like six of them. Yeah, I love me a good glass of wine. I make some sweet heat. It's what I call my white wine. It's really good white wine, but it is strong. It's what some wine drinkers would say astringent because it has a. It's probably not as bad now that it's got some age on it. It's probably got a couple of years on it now. But when I first made it, man, it was quite hot. Uh, well, a couple of years after the secondary, a couple of years in the jar. So it's probably going on 4 years old now. About 3, because it was 2 years in primary. I'm sorry, it was a year and a quarter or so in primary and secondary fermentation, and then went into the bottle. So it's probably about 3. Yeah, because it's probably about a year older than the grappa that I distilled out of some of it, and that was about a year ago. So yeah, it's probably 3 and probably a lot better now. I haven't drank any of it in a while. Ann doesn't drink anymore. She's diabetic, and I like the reds and the cherry wine and the red dark grape wines. I need to get some out and drink some. I hadn't had any in a while. I need to. Got a friend of mine in Arizona I need to send a bottle to. I agree. And as we get older, drinking shots and straight just a little harder on us. I've had to slow down. My body can't handle it quite like it used to. I have to slow down. I can't drink like I used to. I know I have to be that guy, but I want to be around for a little while. I got a kid. Uh-oh. That's all that matters, brother. It don't have to be pretty. You ain't trying to sell it. You're just going to use it. Yeah, buddy. Another buddy of mine, Matt, made his over the past weekend, and lobbies work well. 2000, and two, when you run electric, a lot of people try to just go out to like Home Depot and buy a cheapo hot water heater element. Those will work, but they're very short lived. Best to get a good stainless steel one. I know Denord has some good ones, and some other companies have them. Denord probably puts their name on something somebody else made in China, but those stainless ones they work quite well. The one I got was a Denord and 9,000 watt. I was telling Phil and Wes about it. They're like, "No, man, Wes, like they don't even make a 9,000." I'm like, "Yep." And then he's like, "No, you got that. No." And I probably it was. And I sent him the link for it. And he's like, "Wow, I would have never believed it, man." And I know it's way overkill, and it's going to be hard for me to find a solid state relay for it, but I will. That would work. A lot of people will build stone, stack stone around it and stuff, and in the old days, they'd mud in some rock and they'd build like a little furnace. Of course, we use wood. I started out with wood. But when you're using wood fires out there, it's easy to make a little furnace, build it up around your pot and use mud and rock and build your little furnace for it. Works very well holding that heat. Heats up much quicker and more evenly. Awesome. Awesome. I just talked to another buddy of mine today that's got some, I think he said it's 1 year old. Oh, it's one I talked about before, Jeff. He watches the show up. Makes some damn good tequila. Some of the best, about I think the best tequila I've ever drank. And I've had some pretty good tequila over the years. I used to drink a lot of tequila. I'm telling you, that man makes some of the best tequila you're gonna put your lips on, no doubt. And that was some like 4 to 6 months aged, maybe. And he's got some now that's a year aged, and some rum that he aged in some cherry. And he's like, it's red, and it's gonna, it's his. I guess he's gonna. Well, I'll let him do that when it comes out. I ain't gonna ruin his surprise. But yeah, it said it's really good flavor, a cherry, mango flavor, rum. Sounds really good. But man, I tell you, that man makes some of the best tequila that you would drink, undoubtedly. Pretty good feller too. He's a gambler like me. He likes to gamble too. Yeah, definitely. When he says wavy, it's the ones that curve back in. It has like a double loop. Um, I guess I could go grab mine real quick, show it to you. Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh, trying to teleport. Do what? Oh, okay. You girls have fun. All right, I'm back. All right, so here is the element. This is what it's talking about when he says wavy. This one's a double wave. It's got like 3. But that is 9K. And inside here, got some goodies. So I guess I'm gonna go up, and me and Phil Billy and Wes are gonna build it. Phil doesn't know yet, but he's gonna help me. He just doesn't know yet. I ain't told him. So here's, let me open it. I ain't even, I not open that thing. Look at it here. Now most of these controllers you see, I like this one better because it's got an on-off switch. Shit, and the cover falls on. That's that comes on and off there. But anyway, it has a on-off switch, which it adjusts the power up and down. A lot of those don't have that. But yeah, that little piece comes off there. It's just buttons underneath there. But I liked it because it had the on-off switch that most do not have. Most of them are just plus and minus. So I like that. Here's my controller. $220 controller. Now, when you buy these, you want to make sure that you get a good um, capacitor out there. These Japanese capacitors, you definitely want to get a good capacitor because that's generally what fails in these. But this one's still, it's 10,000 watt, but it's still not going to run this. I'm going to have to get a solid state relay instead of this, but I'll still be able to use this. But that controller's not going to work. And then I got some fans to cool the box with. Wes has me a box. And got a little meter to put into it with my coil. And this will just tell me basically how many amps I'm running. Just another little something to look at, really. But it should work out to be a pretty good looking box when I get it done. Put my wire back in there. But that controller just not going to be enough. That SCR is not going to be enough. I'm going to have to get a solid state relay to run that on. That's just, well, I guess I could probably run it at like 60%, maybe 70, but it's still going to be pushing it. I don't want to. I want something that's going to last a while and work. But yeah, that Element's a monster, man. That is a monster. But I'll be able to boil. Oh, shit. I'll be able to boil water really quickly. Yeah, they do. They break down in no time. Good night, Carl. Thanks for stopping in, brother. We'll see you Saturday evening. We're here every Tuesday and Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and unless I'm at the Derby or at a festival. You can get them. The Elements, you can get them in different wattages. I mean, they come in 3, 4, 5, 55, 65, 7,000, 75. I mean, there's lots and lots. They come even 10K. You can get one bigger than that one. I'm sure they do bigger than 10K for like some of these commercial boilers and stuff, but that one and when I got in 10K was the largest that the Denord were showing at the time. And yeah, this one's got the built-in tri-clamp base. That's what you want. Yeah. Yep. Coat the aluminum. You know what he meant to say. But yeah, once you coat that aluminum with that grease, make sure you get a good torque down, because what happens is every time it gets warm and cold, every time it's used, it gets warm and cold, and it expands and contracts quite a bit more than copper does, and it works itself loose. And that's what it did in a lot of switches and plugs. They weren't properly torqued, and it get hot, cold, and over time it would just basically loosen that little screw on the side or work itself loose and start arcing over, shorting out. Next thing you know, boom. What's going on, Mr. Aubrey? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're having a good week. Did you have a good weekend up there in Louisville? Did you go to the Derby? Switching to 10-2 for 30 amp. Good deal. Yeah, that's what I was going to say to Hellbilly. Might as well just get you a 6 and get you some aluminum, because I think 10-2 copper is probably about the same price as 6-2 aluminum. That aluminum wire is pretty cheap, rolls of it. And then you could put in a 40 amp or no, 50 amp. No, that's copper. So yeah, you could put in a 40 amp breaker, basically one of those small 40 amp breakers that they use a lot for compressors and stuff outside. They're cheap to get to. But yeah, it's always nice to have a little more electric because you'll always find more and more and more and want to add things to it. And the next thing you know, you'll be wanting to do a little woodworking and add you some saws and stuff and some more lighting. And damn, I wish I'd have pulled more wire, heavier wire the first time. Now I'll have to add more. But yeah, let me check that real quick while we're at it. Yeah, let's see. For the 2-aught stranded, it's like $1.90 a foot. So that 150 foot be $300. Pretty costly. But they've got some others here that are cheaper. There's $1.30, $1.35 global cable. Walmart, that's $8. Never mind. $1.31. So or if you know anybody that's an electrician, or if you know somebody that works at the power company, especially, they don't reuse those runs. When they go in and they cut out a run and put in a new run, that goes to a recycle pile. And if you could talk them out of one of those coils of 100, 150 feet, and they have them all the time, you could get it really cheap, for a jar or for whatever the aluminum recycle cost is. If you go talk to them, you need to talk to somebody, because a lot of times, we don't want the liability of, it could be some faulty wire or some shit. So they don't generally want to do it. But if you know somebody that was lineman or works at the power company, they don't reuse those that they cut out and replace. So if somebody has a 100 amp service and they're upgrading to 2, they go in, they cut every bit of that shit out, roll it up, throw it in the back of the truck, and then it goes to get the cord. They take the covers off of them and send it to the recyclers, or just, I don't even know if they take the coatings off. Let me see. That's pretty expensive. Then we go to Lowe's and see what they got. So that's for 2-aught. That's for 150. I guess this 4 is probably for 200 amp. I don't know if. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. So if you use this south wire, it's about $2. Yeah. Maybe do the 100 amp. And you can do a 1-AUG. Or number 2 AUG aluminum. That's not 2-aught. Number 2 aluminum is different for 100 amp, and that'd probably be good for a shop. 100 amp. Number 2. Let me see what that is at Lowe's real quick for you. And 2. Yeah, about $1.90. Yeah. That ain't gonna be cheap. Rum and raisin. Awesome. Oh, it'll be fine. Give it more time for that raisin to flavor it up good. Airlocked especially. Yeah, that'll work. That'll definitely work. Oh, sorry I missed you saying good night, Elvin. I hope you're still here, brother. Hell, that's 20 minutes ago. I probably not. Thanks for stopping in, bro. We'll see you Saturday. I wished I'd have got your question. I hope you're still here. Um, a whiskey. Now, when you say diamond, I'm not familiar with the diamond, but the traditional horsehead whiskey is a frustum. They call it a frustum in geometry, and it's basically similar to a straight up and down column, but it's at an angle. So it starts small, and then just builds up into a larger, cap. And then that's the traditional whiskey cap is a frustum. That versus an onion head. Now, with an onion head, it usually comes out of the top. And we know from fractional distillations, things that generally go to the top are the higher volatiles, right? So in a fractional column, volatiles at the top, you'll get your hearts in the middle and your heavier oily stuff in the bottom. Awesome. I'm glad to see you're still here. So when you have an onion head, basically it just comes straight out and it goes straight out and then it goes on over, which is very common. A lot of alembic type stills and that. Or in the whiskey balls where, it's basically just a place where you can get some passive reflux. But in a traditional frustum shaped Kentucky cap, you'll see that the lin arm is in the middle of that and it tapers and it usually comes down. And so a lot of times inside that cap, the thought process behind it is a lot of the higher volatiles are going to be up here hitting your microphone. A lot of the higher volatiles are going to be up here and condensing back down the walls. And a lot of the stuff in the middle goes through the lin arm. And a lot of your heavier stuff falls to the bottom. And you basically get more true stuff in the middle. And a lot of the higher volatiles just go to the top of the cap and try to condense up there and get some passive reflux and condense on down. So coming out the side middle is kind of like, I'm assuming in some small fractional way, like coming out of the middle of a fractional column, but in a much minuter way. I think that may have been the thought process behind it. That's what I can think of. And by angling down, of course, you don't get, excuse me, reflux backing up and into it like if it were angled up or straight out. Angled up, it will increase your proof because you get a lot more reflux, which increases your proof, and it takes a higher proof to get pushed out and pass. So it'll increase the proof if the lin arm goes up. If the line arm, lin arm, I call them. If it goes straight out, it's kind of a 50-50 thing. You get, equal flavor, equal proof, so it balances out. And if it angles down, that's more of a Kentucky style, and it's more fruit, more flavor, and less proof. But I'm thinking that's going to be the difference in them. Whereas like an alembic, and generally, if you're like stripping and running a lot of different things, it's not going to be as important. But for like a whiskey or a brandy, I think having that cap shaped that way is fractionally better. I don't think it's going to make a whole ton of difference, but I think that's kind of the premise in the Kentucky cap and the tall cap and the lin arm in the middle is a lot of your higher volatiles go to the top of the cap and tend to condense reflux down, and mostly just the middle stuff comes out the lin arm. That's my thoughts. I think that's what they were thinking when they did that. And that's their traditional horse head is called a frustum, Frustum, I think it's spelled. And it's basically just like a cone, a large cone. And those, I like them the best. That's the traditional style. And I think that's what the mindset was in their design many, many ages ago. they thought theoretically the same way we do now. You know, they applied the same science that we do now. It's actually, you know, steel design and a lot of the stuff that we still use today was designed over a century ago. You know, I mean, we've added little things to it, and you know, but for the most part, it's the old, similar to what it was ages and ages ago. Man, they really got into it. Some of the and what it is it was more important. It was kind of the upper field of science, and you know, so instead of them having them at SpaceX, they were at a distillery figuring out the best way to do the distillation. Now they got bigger and better things to do than full with distillation. But back then it was a big thing. There's a big demand for it, Clint. You'd probably be able to get her sold. 30 amp. I know what he's trying to say. 30, yeah, yeah. Right, right. Yeah, you'll be fine. But it's just always something in the future, man. And you'll look back on this day and say, "Daggone it," you know. I wished I would have listened in, but if you've already got it, go for it, man. I mean, it's nothing but a thing. I don't know, you burying it or running conduit or but yeah, you'll be fine. That 30 amp will run quite a bit. It'll run more than just that 19 or that watt. So you can turn the AC off and everything off, and with that 30 amp, you can run what 5,000 watts. Oh, okay. Yeah, Clint was talking about the one when he's mentioning the ripple. He was talking about the one that goes back and forth like this, and it makes them shorter with as much area, so they can fit inside like a keg or something smaller round than having a big long. Yeah, got you, brother. Thanks for the clarification on that. All right, what was I looking at? I got sidetracked. Oh yeah, 30 amp. I think could do the math, but 3,600 watts. So yeah, you could use a 3,000 or 3,500 watt easy. Or if it's 30 amp in 240 volts, then you could easily run your 55s. So if you got 30 amps on two poles, you could run 7,200, which would definitely you could run 6,000 watts without a problem, easy, and heavy lights. So is it going to be 30 amp 120 or two pole? If you're going in 220 30 amp, that would be you don't have any problem at all, bro. You can definitely have some upgrade space. Yeah, you definitely want to use the right size wiring on these. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Yeah, I'm gonna go up and Wes has got me a box. We're gonna go over and surprise Phil Billy and put it all together. I gotta get me an SSR though that's capable of running it. Yeah, I'm gonna probably talk to Jason too. I was talking to him earlier, and try to find an SSR that'll be sized well for it. That's what I do in the winter generally, but I got maybe something a little bigger in mind than my 18 and a half. So I'm gonna build me a copper, and when I do, it's gonna probably be about 30 or 40 gallons, and that's what I want this 9,000 for. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they want to know about all these improvements, don't they? It's unbelievable. Once we're in 8 gallons a day, still winter here, 6 days. Oh wow. Yeah, man, you're gonna have to get you a shine shack, heated shine shack or something. Get you get you an old wood burning stove put out there and keep things warm. Or coal if you got it in that area, man. It'll keep it so damn hot it'll run you out of there. That's one thing I like about back home, man. You if you got property, or you just go to the road cuts, man. Take your little pick and pick you off some coal and take that stuff back home. You wouldn't believe what a few chunks of coal this size, how long it would heat and how hot it gets. Man, I'm telling you, it's there's a reason they use it in metallurgy. This shit gets hot. It'll run you out, and you have to have a special brick for your wood burning stoves. It has to be a coal burning stove too, with special brick in it. But yeah, man, it gets hot. I don't know. Interesting. But the onion head, it's basically all the vapor just goes on up and out like in an alembic. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just thinking that's why they designed the Kentucky head the way they did, especially if you're stripping, coming out straight like that. It's very efficient, and you're not going to get much reflux at all. So, you're going to get probably lower proof as a result, which may be a good thing, maybe a great thing for your whiskeys and brandies, to come straight off that way. I do know Olympics crank out some really good stuff. So, what's going on, Mikey? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, for whiskeys and brandies, aiming down is why they did it that way. It adds less reflux and lower proof and more flavor. And then some come straight out where you get a little bit higher proof and a little less flavor, and it's kind of a trade off. And then the one that goes up, I don't know where in the hell they came up with that. I'm not gonna say because somebody here might be from that state. I won't insult them, so I won't say West Virginia. I just give my neighbors. I'm from Pike County, right across the border from West Virginia, so that was always the joke. If you talk about a redneck joke, it was people from West Virginia, right? It wasn't Pike County, and over in Mango County, it's the same thing. Well, it was in Pike County, people. Yeah, I think that's for Williamson, isn't it? Yeah, that's Mango County. Yeah. Had Jeff check, make sure. Yeah, Wimpson, right across the river, right across. Yeah, I think he's talking about in the onion. If you like inside, you had the spike coming down to where it wouldn't allow it in. It just would force it to come from the middle. I think that's the way I understood it. What's going on, Mash Brothers? Good to see you, man. Well, it'll vary depending on the steel, but traditionally, you know, and it depends on your mash. So the ABV of the mash and the steel type is generally what determines what proof you come out. If you have a thumper on there with tails in it, that will definitely raise your proof and increase your production. If you have a column or anything that increases, passive reflux, like a large cap will do, that will increase your proof because you're increasing the reflux, which basically condenses in the cap, falls back down, and forces it to redistill. And as it does that, then the proof generally goes up and it increases to a point where it can get out. Um, Whereas if you just come off the steel into a pipe it straight over into a condenser, you're getting very little reflux. You have no cap, and your proof is going to be much, much lower as a result of getting no reflux at all. And generally carries more flavor over, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Too much flavor tends to create a muddled, muddy spirit that doesn't have a lot of character. It's not light, it's a heavy flavor. And that's not always good because you don't get notes, especially when you're looking for lighter floral, delicate, notes. You're not going to get those. Whereas if you get some reflux and you increase your proof and you refine it more, you're not going to get as much flavor, but a lot of times some of your more delicate notes can carry forward. So you can get too much flavor and get it kind of muddled up, which can be a bad thing, or depending on what you're distilling, it could be a great thing, right? The more flavor, the better. So again, yeah, it definitely depends on what you're distilling and what your equipment is like. So of course, using a column with active reflux is going to create definitely the most high proof because it's actively being refluxed with usually a deflagmator or just bubble plates and height and allowing it to cool, by the time it can work its way all the way up to the top of the column through all these bubble plates with liquid, standing on them, cooling it down as it works its way up. It creates more and more reflux. And then you add a deflagmator on there, which has cool water running through it, kind of like a condenser. And it definitely forces a lot more condensed liquids down, and that even raises your proof even higher. So you can pretty much dial in whatever proof you want on a system like that. um yeah, she wants to get drunk. She's getting drunk. She wants us to drink with her. Cheers, Lisa. Thank you, Joe. It's good stuff, man. I keep saying I'm gonna put that on some oak, but I don't think it's gonna last long enough. I've not got a copy of it. I'd love to check it out. I know Chris is very knowledgeable, and I go to his group often and see the discussions that are going on in there. Good discussions, and he throws out questions a lot of times. People think, oh, he's asking this question. He doesn't. He knows the answers to the question. He's just getting people's opinions and trying to get the truth out there, right? So he's wanting people to come in and give the right answer so people can say, oh, there's the right answer, and encourage them to read the book and stuff. But yeah, Chris is a great guy. I met him at Farm to Bottle last year. Good dude. And I'd say for long, somebody gonna be like Alan Bishop's book. Somebody be passing that along in a PDF form in all the groups, and I hope that doesn't happen. But that's generally what ends up happening. And I won't post it in my group. So if I see that in a PDF, don't send it to me. I ain't putting it in I ain't gonna put it in the group. I don't think I'll be making popcorn. I'm not even sure about Maggie this year. I don't know. I definitely know I'm going farm to bottle and most likely going to Beattyville. I'm not sure if I go Friday and Saturday Beattyville or just Saturday. I got to see all what's going on. I know they got a cookout going Friday night. I'd like to go to, but I just got to see what all's going on. Ann's got to work Friday, so I wouldn't want to go until be Friday afternoon. I don't know what all. I'll have to read up on what's the itinerary for Friday. I don't know if they're having the parade Friday or Saturday. I thought in the past it was on Saturday, but I think it's a 2-day this time. And it's just not a moonshine festival. It's an Appalachian heritage kind of festival thing. So I'll have to read about it and see what. Hang on it. I was trying to close it out. I have to read up on it and see what days and what times and everything. But definitely going to Farm to Bottle for sure. That's I'll go there every year. Just hang out with Wes and Phil and the Ohio group. Got a lot of friends up there. And it's not a far drive for me. It's only a couple of hours. And same with Beattyville. It's like a 45-minute drive. Whereas popcorn, probably 4.5, 5 hours, and Maggie 6.5 hours. So it's and just the rooms at Maggie is so expensive. I've not been to popcorn yet. I'd like to experience it. I'll definitely go one of these years. I just don't know if this will be the year. Probably be more likely to go when Ann retires and we have more time on our hands and maybe a motorhome where we can go and spend time and camp in our motorhome like Chris Palin does. And maybe one day I'll be able to have one of those. You gonna bring your motorhome back down this year? Yeah, that's nice, man. What's going on, Gary? Good to see you, brother. I knew the answer to that. I knew. Yeah, I doubt popcorn this year. To be honest, it's seems like a lot of them happen. I'd like to do the OBX thing out on the Outer Banks, but that's just a long drive too, man. It's just I'm getting old, and those drives are hard. And Ann has to do a lot of the driving because I fall asleep a lot, and I can't. It's hard for me to drive, a long distance. Um, Maybe if I get some meds or something to help me out and keep me awake, and maybe the CPAP and all that stuff helps me. Maybe I'll be able to do stuff like that again. But I just worry about me driving long distances alone. I can't do it. I've done it a couple times and caught myself falling asleep at the wheel, and I don't want to. I don't want that to be my end. I remember my dad talking about he did the same. Went through the same things, and about this time, and he's about retired and had a bass boat. He'd go fishing a lot, and he fell asleep at the wheel and woke up, headed off the road with a damn boat on the back, and he whipped it back on the road, and that boat fish tailing. He said it was the craziest, scared the shit out of him. He's definitely said he's awake after that, but I remember him talking about that, man. He said that's about the scariest he's ever been in his life. I guess there's finger imprints on the steering wheel, but yeah, I remember him talking about that. So we're kind of going through the same thing. Let's see. Where is popcorn? Where at in Tennessee is that? Johnson City area or what? I can't remember the name of the city in Tennessee. Newport. Well, let's do it on here. My map thing. It's about 3 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, it's not that far. Not too bad. Oh, so it's just oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was in further towards Kingsport. It's not too bad. 3.5, 340, something like that. Just west of Knoxville. What lake is that? That Cherokee Lake? What lake is it? What my phone telling me? Anybody know what lake? Oh, yeah, it's on here. Why is it northwest of it? Douglas Lake. Okay. Yeah, Cherokee is further northwest of it. Okay. Douglas Lake. That's good fishing there too. So it's just a little bit further than Pigeon Forge. That's not too bad. I might do a car camp thing if I did. I don't know. It'd be last minute thing, but I might. If I do, it'll be just a car camp. I'll come down and get drunk, car camp, go out the next day, party, and I can't drive home. She doesn't drink. Yeah, Douglas Lake. $30 You gonna be there? I'd like to come, man. I don't know. It's again I don't know. I do know that the winter jam was kind of hectic. Had a lot of patrolmen there, just a lot of cops and feds there. So it's getting quite popular, and that's in a state that has a ALE. So they're different, and I don't blame them. I'm not coming down on cops or anything like that. They just got to do their job. I understand. And that is their job. That's all they do is alcohol law enforcement, ALE. So, it's all they do, and it's kind of hard to neglect your job when that is your job. I'm not going to knock them. I think there are definitely better occupations to be had, but yeah, trying to think of his name. Dang on my mind. Several people got pulled over. Popcorn son, what's his name? I can't remember what's his name. Popcorn son, anyway, got pulled over, and several other people did that we were talking to. So I don't know. I may do the same thing I did last year, man. I don't mind car camping. I'll drive down on Friday, party Friday night, car camp, party all day Saturday, and go take her a little nap around 11, 12 o'clock. I'll party till 4 like I usually do, and I'll walk over and wake her up and drive home. That's what we did last year, and it was just fine. I don't mind do that. That car sleeps plenty well. I'll do that every day. But I mean, I'm not poor or cheap. I mean, I'm just tight, I guess. I just hate paying $300, $220 or something like that a room for a 2-star hotel. Yeah. That 2 nights. The last time we stayed 3 nights. It's close to $700 some dollars, and it's like, I mean, I love going and love partying with everybody and hanging out, but $700, that's, think about what equipment you could buy for that, right? So last year I said, I'm just going to car camp, and the money I save, that $440 I save, is going to electrify my steel. That's exactly what's going to happen. Hell, I can buy a sheet of copper for what it costs to stay in the damn rooms for 2 nights. So, yeah, and also to stay in, in what's the adjoining town? There's a town right outside Maggie. We went there to eat with Chris now. What was that? See, my mind, I can't think anymore. I'm trying to think and look at the map at the same time. I got this map still up. It's hard to find Maggie. There's Asheville. There's Charlotte. Maggie's such a small area. There's chunks. Anyway, there's a town outside of it to the east. There we go. There's Maggie Valley. I knew I'd find it. So you can go to Asheville and get a room. It's not too far. Waynesville's where we were. Waynesville. It's a little bit bigger. Waynesville is. You can get rooms reasonably. Cherokee. I know a lot of people go to Cherokee or Asheville to get rooms. And that's where Jeff went last time. But he makes tequila. He was there, and he gets his rooms comped there at the I think he gambles there at the casino. I think it's the Indian Reservation. I'm trying to think of what it is. But Indian Reservation Casino. He gets comped there, so he stays there. French Broad River and Pigeon River. Yeah, French Broad River's. I saw the remnants of that after the flood, man. That's big old river, big river basin. Oh yeah, it was a good trip last year. I appreciate it, brother. Like I said, I don't mind car camping. I'll come down Friday, party Friday night, and go sleep in the car and wake up Saturday, party out, and get drunk all day, and Ann will hang, and then take a little nap that evening, and we'll just drive home that morning. That's the easiest for us anyway, because she has to work on Sunday, so unless it's a day she can take off, which probably would. It'd be hard on her to drive and go to work. But 3.5 hours ain't too bad. If it takes that, I don't know. Does I have to go through I-40 getting there? Oh yeah. What have they done to I-40? Have they fixed that? Or do I have to worry about that? Let me see. I don't think I have to worry about that. Between Knoxville and Newport. It is I-40, but I don't know if it's. I think the section of I didn't realize Newport and Maggie were that damn close. So Maggie, why does it seem like it took 6 hours to get to Maggie? That's only another hour, isn't it? 4.5 hours. I don't know. It seemed like it took us longer than that. I sleep some other time, so I don't know. I do know that when Google Maps says take this detour, you should probably take that detour. Last year around I-40, I said, nah, they're just trying to shave off a minute. That's how that thing works, because it does do that sometimes. But yeah, just about 2 miles ahead was standing traffic and no way to turn around and no exits soon, and sat there forever. Yeah, it's passed through then. That's between there and Maggie that takes long. Maybe that's what it was. It seemed like it takes long. We sat in traffic for an hour and a half. That had it was 6 hours, 4.5 hours plus an hour and a half. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, it was horrible. We sat there forever and ever. I was so mad I didn't take that detour. Yeah, I don't mind car camping if it's not too hot, Would like to get me a truck though, man. Put me a little air mattress in the back and wire me up a fan. That's a hillbilly motorhome right there. No, it wasn't 35. It was standstill. And yeah, eventually when we did move, it was slow because it was a standstill. But oh my God. But after looking at all the work they're doing on I-40, I understood, because it's just like for miles. I thought it was just a small section of road, but it's not. For many miles, that I-40 was, I guess, right alongside the river, and it washed it out, and the road it's going to take them a long time to build that up. They're creating new quarries and everything and bringing in, I mean, it's going to take a monumental amount of work to get that road back to where it was, and it's going to take a lot of time and just unbelievable. Yeah, it was a long detour, or long. I should have taken the detour. It would have been much quicker. You got your little camper? I wouldn't mind having me a little pop up or something. Yeah, it was. It was unbelievable the amount of damage. Of course, I went there the year before and helped out the. Trying to think the name of the town. It's just east of Asheville, and it had been demolished, man. It was horrible. Fort Fort something. I'm losing my thoughts, man. It's horrible. Trying to see here on the map. This is a small town. I'm not seeing it. It's so small. It's not even showing up. Can't remember. No, it wasn't Dodge. I'd have to look at some old pictures and see. Let's see if I can get on Facebook and pull up some old pictures. Not Fort Mill. What was the name of that town? Lord. There's so many. Yeah, I can't remember what the name of it was. Anyway. It's time for another shot. Can't believe I can't remember things like that anymore. I'd ask Cam, she can't remember anything. Let me look on. Maybe in my Facebook pictures I can see it. We posted some pictures. Damn, I post a lot of food pics. I didn't realize I posted so many food pics. I don't see it on my pictures. Let me go to Dan Gray's and see. And his pictures. Shit, he posts more damn pictures than I did Fret Festival, I guess. Lord, he's posted a lot of pictures. We'll get there, though. We'll find it. Here we go. All right, let's see if it says. Here's the pictures, but it doesn't say where and what. No comments. Old Fort. That's what it was. I was trying to think Fort something, and it was Old Fort. Jeez, my mind's so gone. Damn, I like your pop-up, Frank. That's cool. Yeah, that's what I need. I like it. Yep. I like it. Old Fort. Anyway, yeah, Old Fort. Name of it, that town was about wiped out by Helene, flooding from Helene. We went there and I played Santa and handed out gifts. Dan Gray did a benefit concert, and got a lot of toys and got a lot of donations. And we got donations. Moonshine Militia got some, and several different worked together, but Dan mostly got a lot worked up for it. And we went out and handed. When we got there, anyway, we met the Cajun Navy was there as well, and and they had a bunch of toys to hand out. And they saw us sitting there, and they're like, "Would you mind giving these out as well?" Because they didn't have a Santa or anything. And they're like, "We'd love to." So I got to give out just lots and lots of toys to kids. Man, it was so rewarding. It was so heartbreaking too to see these kids coming in there. A lot of them still weren't living in homes. Some of them were still living in tents and using heaters and tents and stuff that we delivered to them just 3 months, 4 months prior, right? And so earlier we did a drive and we went down in Arkansas. We got a bunch and we got quite a bit, from the festival there, but not a whole lot. And we had Mikey and his wife donated. They own a trucking company, and they donated an 18-wheeler to come, get all this stuff and take it. We didn't know how much we were going to get, and so there wasn't much. And he's like, "Hell, we got to fill this truck up." So he dropped like $4 or $5 grand, and we went to Walmart and spent thousands and bought tents and heaters. Well, some of it was from the Moonshine Militia, but most of it was Mike and his wife, the Dragon Lady. They're awesome people. But we went in and just loaded up and bought Walmart out tents, sleeping bags, gas stoves, gas heaters, camping gas type, gas cylinders, a lot of stuff like that. And we delivered it up there to them, and then went back, I guess a few months later, 4 months, 3-4 months later. And, a lot of them, were still homeless, living in those tents, using those heaters. And it was horrible to see. Some of the kids, of course, they weren't able to bathe daily, and they were getting dirty, and it was horrible, even for everybody. It affected everybody. And all those kids, they were definitely, they came up and gave me a big hug. It was very heartwarming, but yeah, terrible what it did. And they didn't get much help from, the HUD and FEMA. Not like they should have. Seems like we're helping our own people these days. Now, I don't want to get involved in politics or anything, but it really made me mad. They pulled out and they left people in tents. That's pretty messed up, And Damon was working with some Appalachia initiatives and some other groups that were building, rebuilding homes and stuff. And there's a group of guys, awesome people. They were dedicating a lot of their time and money, hundreds of thousands, to rebuilding homes and putting people back into homes, something that the government should have been doing. And seems like we're sending a lot of money to leering centers and not to places where it's truly needed, right? A lot of fraud going on, and money's not going where it needs to go. And we got too much in between, too many middlemen and too many people skimming and creating little frauds and taking a lot of money. Yeah, no, me too, but it's, and that shouldn't have a party next to it, and it shouldn't. But yeah, we definitely need to hopefully in the future do better. Yep, bit of a sour note for me. Seeing those people like that, and they were all so happy to see us, man, and definitely helped. Probably saved some lives. I don't know, because they had nothing. They didn't have the tents and the heaters that we sent and the sleeping bags. A lot of them had no family. I mean, all their family lost their homes too. Really, Mark? I hate that, brother. But yeah, it's just, they couldn't like go stay at a friend's house or at a family member's house because everybody was infected. It basically wiped out the whole damn town, except the main downtown, was sitting on the area where it didn't get hit. But you see the way that river just wound through, man, it just wiped pretty much everything out. And there was a lot of homelessness and people still living in tents in the cold December 25th weather. They bundled them up and brought them downtown to get the presents because That was the only presents they got that Christmas. Yeah, it's horrible. Horrible. And that's just that one town. Chimney Rock got wiped out. Probably 30, 40, 50 towns just like it up and down that river got wiped out just the same. We just, randomly picked that one. Yeah, it's horrible. Eight shots. Damn, I got some catching up to do then. I think we're at 4. Shoot. And we only got another 15 minutes to it's 11. Our witching out here. That might be 6. I think at least the last one, that might have been 5, 6. We're going to call that 6. But yeah, there was a lot of towns affected. And one thing that really got me mad was the militia had packed up a big truckload and we were taking it in and they were stopping people and saying, you can't come through here. And they're like, what do you mean? Only people that live here. And I was like, well, we don't live here. We're coming here to help. And we got a truckload of stuff to bring and deliver to people and give away. And I can understand them wanting to divert people that were just gawking or people coming in to steal. But when people have trailer fulls of stuff that you can obviously see and a tractor trailer full of stuff that you can obviously see, and they're saying no, and you're saying we're delivering this and we're going to deliver it, and then they said the militia was threatening FEMA was in one little town newspaper. So that's not what happened. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But yeah, we're like, yeah, they are getting this stuff. It ain't delivering, we are, Yeah, I was pretty pissed. And that was one of their excuses for pulling out. They were afraid. Bullshit. They never pulled in. Yeah, they definitely did. And, and I guess it wasn't the voting block of the current administration. If I just have to go ahead and just say it, if that had been a blue state, they'd have gotten a hell of a lot more. I'm just going to say it. And it's sad to say, but that's basically the way it worked, And that should never be the case. Never be in the past. And I hope it doesn't in the future, but the political climate is so toxic right now. I'm pretty much convinced that that's what happened, Because it's other people got more assistance than that, and a lot of other people. But yeah, it was a travesty for sure. And I don't want to get worked up and I need another shot. I don't want to get mad. There's 7. Got one more. Watch my nose. You can see it get redder, can't you? Look at that. Do you see it getting redder? I don't mind. Look at that. It's getting redder as I look at it. Yeah, it was pretty sad sight. And I don't know, they were bad in Florida too. I've got some friends in Florida, but that was a local issue he had with some of the locals down there that were pretty shitty too. But it's still the same department, just local. But they were the same way. It's just too much bureaucracy to get the benefits that you need. You should be able to go in and get it. You shouldn't. I can understand. They're not just going to give out trailers to everybody, right? But once you prove that you live there and you have some land that you can put the trailer on and you can prove that your home was lost, give them a trailer. Don't make them jump through burning hoops and come in 10 times. And in the meantime, while they're living in a motor home there on their land, come confiscate everything they own because the kids aren't being kept like they think they should be. And the kids were taking showers at their granny's house, 15 minutes away every day. It was horrible. Yeah. Well, exactly something like that, or just even converting some of these cargo containers. You can get them for like $1,000, $1,500 each. How hard would it be to put a sliding glass door, a few windows, and then in the back that you open up, maybe put in a heat system, a little small heat pump, air conditioning system, and plumbing, just something temporary like that. I'm sure you can build them for $5,000 or less easily. I'm sure I could, and just drop those off and put a generator, and then move along. $6,000-7,000 with a generator and a little cargo container. Give them something. Give them some warmth. Get them out of the elements. I mean, literally had people living in tents, lots of tents. They're on their own property, they just had a foundation left, and that's what they were pitching their tents on. Yeah. But yeah, just getting a bunch of cargo containers or micro hotels, like you say. I mean, they can make those cargo containers, but they had FEMA trailers. You want to see the saddest thing, Lost Penny? Pull up Google. I'm not sure where in Georgia it is, but look at the FEMA trailers in Georgia, and I think this was Katrina, that were left after Katrina. Thousands and thousands of trailers that never made it to see the people that it should have helped. They just put them on this big, huge 1,000-acre, I don't know how many acres place in Georgia. And they sat there, and eventually thieves started going in and stealing the copper and the aluminum and anything that they could salvage to send to the recyclers to make money. I don't know if they were just hungry or if they wanted, I don't know. I'm not going to try to go into that, but what's going on, Jason? Good to see you, bro. You got here a little bit late. We were just talking about elements and electric and using electricity. I was showing my 9,000-watt monster element, and still got to get an SSR for it. But yeah, it was. That's what we've been doing. The Moonshine Militia has been doing a lot the last couple few years. That's one great thing I can say about Damon. He's really worked a lot about that and gotten involved and gotten involved with some other groups that are involved in it. And we've donated what we could, but we help logistics in between other groups, and yeah, it's awesome. We've done quite a bit, and I'd say a lot of other shiners have been kicking in as well. A lot of people have done their part and definitely helped out. But that Appalachian United Initiative, they were doing a lot too, and there's some other groups along that worked with them as well that were doing a whole lot. But yeah, Google, look at the Katrina trailers in Georgia and all. I mean, thousands of trailers in this huge lot there, just never got sent to where they belong because of bureaucracy and because of the hoops, and because people had to go through. It's just, I don't know. It's just bewildering why. And I'm sure that happened during Helene too. It's the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. He has done a whole lot. Yep. He sure has. He slacks on his calendar, but not put me on there Tuesday. But yeah. Yeah. I'm going to have to. Yep, definitely going to, Jason. Yeah, I was telling him I was going to have to do an SSR. Couldn't do an SCR or a PI. Probably could do a PID, probably into an SSR. Is that how it works? But yeah, it's a monster element. I was showing it to everybody a minute ago. It was it's a Denord, and that's the monster there. 9,000 watts, baby. You talk about boiling some water fast now. I will be boiling some water very, very quickly with that. Yeah, I'm going to do a 50 and a 50 amp breaker and probably, I guess, 6-aught wiring. Six amp. Six-aught aluminum. Let me see here. 6-aught aluminum. That's right. It's 40 to 50. So maybe a 4-aught or a 6-aught. That's what it is. 6-aught copper or 4-aught aluminum. No, 4-aught. Oh, I'm sorry, 4-AUG. Not aught. 4-AUG. Yeah, 55 to 75. 60 amp. So maybe it was a 6-AUG aluminum. Let's check that. I want to be for sure. Yeah, 40 to 55 continuous. Yeah, it depends on the type for the temperature rating. But somewhere in between a 6-AUG and a 4-AUG wire. Yeah. I think this. What do I run into control the SSR? Just the SCR, just the same. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be in probably a 40 gallon. Yeah, man, it can definitely heat it. Oh, I wonder why it didn't post that, Chris. I didn't see the lithium. All I saw was they found a lot of that under their feet, but it didn't show the other. Yeah, it seems to happen quite a lot of different places. Yeah, that's strange that it didn't show that. Wonder why that was. Strange. Yeah, I'll have to do some research on it, Jason, for sure. But I have one of those SCRs that's rated for 10,000 watts, but there's no way that's going to handle 10,000 continuous watts. that might handle probably 8,000 peak, but continuous. There's no way it can handle that. Says 10,000, but I know it doesn't have that kind of duty cycle. Yeah. They sure took it right out of there, Chris, for sure. It's crazy, isn't it? And it's not hate speech or anything like that. It's why would they take that out? I don't understand. It's like that's censorship. That's you're censoring, even if it's an opinion, even if it's not fact. They still should let you say it. Yeah, most of them are SCR. Yeah, 55 continuous. That's what I was originally going to get and use with it, but I saw this 9,000. I'm like, it's just a few more dollars, man, and I could get double the. Yeah, it's going to be double the trouble and double the cost on the SSR. I've already been looking at some of them. It's going to be a little bit more, but it's all right. I won't be able to get that water boiling. I'm more interested in really boiling water for mashing in faster than I am distilling. So, I'll never crank it up that high for distilling, but for just boiling the water, and getting the water ready to mash in, I hate sitting there. It's like watching paint dry or grass grow, man. I hate sitting there doing that. Like an hour and a half, 2 hours that you'll never get back, just sitting there waiting for it to boil. I guess you'd be doing other things, but all right, I'm gonna take it shot number 8 and they make a 12,000 watt. Yeah, I know. I was looking at it. This was yeah, I didn't want to get too crazy. And I think the one that I was looking at, they had the 9,000 and 10,000. I think that was all they had. And then I know they definitely make bigger. They probably make even bigger than the 12. But that's I thought that one was be all right. Definitely have to look it up. Yeah. It'll heat up quicker in 2 hours. I know that's about what it takes. Mine's about an hour and a half to boiling, on the 18 and a half. But in the big 40, it's going to take a long time. Yep. Yeah, it's probably going to go into a 40. It's not been built yet. It'll probably go into my smaller one until I get it built, but it's going to go into a copper 40, a short, fat 40. I don't like the big, tall steels. I'd rather them be more shorter and fatter. All right, y'all. It's 11 o'clock. Weekday. You know how that is. I'm surprised half y'all ain't gotten off here and gone to work already. Or bed before work tomorrow. I know we lost JJ early. He's eating them gummies. It's like last weekend. He's like, I don't know how long will last. I'm eating a gummy. 15 minutes later. Well, I think I'm gonna go now. Even gummies rocking his world. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks for the beginners that jumped in tonight. I hope we were able to help you, and tune back in Saturday with more questions. That's what we're here for, and this show's for you all. I mean, y'all are the show. I'm just here to help answer questions and keep some of y'all in order. Well, some of y'all get pretty out of hand sometimes, man. But it's a good time. I'm glad y'all tuned in tonight. It's good seeing everybody. Sorry I missed y'all this weekend. Appreciate it, Brian. Good to see you. Thanks to everybody else out there that's watching, but not chiming in. That's cool. We understand. I get a lot of people, man, like I say, probably 95 of the people watch this later in the week. They don't even catch us live. So I'm just glad we can catch some people live. But if you are catching it later and you do have questions, try to tune in on Tuesday night or Saturday night and ask you questions. And we'll definitely be happy to help you if we can. If not, we'll figure it out. But until Saturday, everybody have a great week. I guess see what we got going on, Militia, on Friday. I don't know what we got in store. Let me look at Damon's unfilled calendar there. That Tuesday's looking awful blank, ain't it? It's like Thursday night, you got the ladies' night, and then this is going to be next month. He don't even have next month yet. Let's see, Damon. We need to be able to check out different months so we can look for events and stuff. Now I don't even see it. Shit. I hope I didn't delete the damn thing. I just hit X. Don't tell me. Here's the calendar. Wait, let me see. No. Shit. Here's calendar. Is that this year? May. Here we go. Yep. Tuesday's empty. May 2026. Looks like Friday. This has to be 2025 carried over or some shit. Yeah, that's 2025. He hadn't done nothing. He needs to work on it. They're still calling it Shine Talking Shots, my show. That's me and Roger from last year. All right, everybody. Well, it's good seeing y'all. I don't know what's going on Friday, but just tune in and find out. No, it's not the shit show. That was last week, so I don't know if it's Chad and Tom or if it's going to be Wayne and Damon and maybe Amanda again, hopefully. That's the best one. I like it the best. No offense to Tom and Chad, but I like it. Proof is out there with when you get Wayne and Amanda on there. But anyway, y'all, we will hope everybody has a good week. We will see y'all this weekend that'll be May. Yeah, we're already in May the 9th. Damn. Is there? Wait a minute. When is the Beattyville? When's Beattyville? Is that this weekend or next weekend? I'm looking. Let me see when Beattyville is. I don't know if it's this weekend or next. Somebody saying? Nope. That's funny. Keep that damn calendar up. I figured it'd have more posts than this. Lord. Yes. Well, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing far in the bottle there. Huh. Well, no, we need to post something about the Beattyville festival. We need to post it more often. It's getting buried. and on all the other posts. So yeah, we'll get something put in there and see when it is. I don't think it's this weekend. I think it's next weekend, but don't quote me on that. We'll have to figure it out. But we'll know by Saturday. If it's this weekend, we won't be there. Until Saturday, everybody peace out and have a great week. We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. Shine on.